The barrel was cleaned after every 5-shot series. Caldwell's DFT2 Lead Sled was used with 2 25-pound bags of lead shot. CZ's American Safari 550 was the rifle used. Shot at 85 yards. Breaking from tradition of making 4 5-round groups, instead I put 10 reloaded rounds into my first group. So R1, or our first group of 10.5 grains of red dot, we had a very nice group here. All of our shots were in here on our Leopold 100-yard target at 85 yards. One managed to stray. I'm not sure if that was me or the bullet. Probably the bullet. I was shooting pretty good. Leading was minimal. This is actually a very good, I mean, if we're getting that kind of accuracy out of 10 rounds without being cleaned, the rifle was shooting dead on, and so was this load. And because it is the minimal load, and because it's cheap and low recoil, this might be the load we're looking for. It works right off the bat. Standard deviation for the 10-shot group was 14.17 feet per second. The total average came in at 1,122.9 feet per second, 739 foot-pounds. So this was definitely a success. Round 2, red 2, our second group with 14 grains of red dot, shot basically a 2-inch group, in and around roughly, at only 85 yards, so accuracy began to deteriorate. However, our standard deviation for the 5-shot group was only 3.57, so it actually was more consistent velocity-wise than the first lighter group. We can start to assume that red dot at higher loads may begin to lose accuracy. Average was 1,321.6 feet per second with 1,025 foot-pounds of energy. This would be, I suppose, it can be considered by some people accurate enough for some game shooting, and with greater energy might be a better terminal performer. But still, these results are disappointing. And for R3, which was 15.5 grains of red dot, which was over our Lyman number 3 manual, because I read something out of a different manual. However, there were no pressure signs or no danger noted. Still, we ended up with a very large group indeed, and one flyer. 4 bullets here and 1 down here. We did enjoy the greatest standard deviation of 2.86 feet per second, with an average of 1,374.8 feet per second and 1,108 foot-pounds. Now, we had plenty of power, and even though our standard deviation decreased, and we had the best standard deviation out of all 3 groups, our accuracy was the worst. So it can be well noted that simply because we have a close standard deviation of velocity, that does not equate to a strong sense of accuracy. We can have rounds that have a much greater standard deviation of velocity and much greater accuracy versus the other. We had one tumbling, so I think we're going to, with red dot loads, we found one absolutely smash out of the park hit and a couple of not so impressive ones.